Namaskar. We have been studying Anuvrat in the last two classes, and there are 12 vrats for a Shravak or a householder, 5 Anuvrat, 3 Gunavrat, and 4 Shikshavrat. And out of these 12, the importance is given to Anuvrat. And I must say that Anuvrat have been given a lot of importance in Jain practice. I do not say that these are something unique to Jainism. These 5 vrats have also been described in yoga philosophy in the form of yam. But the point is that they have been described in very great detail in Jain philosophy. But there is something special about it, that when we study this vrata, both aspects are described, positive and negative, in the sense that suppose we study ahimsa, then it is also very well spelled out what is hinsa, and how do you avoid hinsa in order to achieve the objective ahimsa, that way. So in all 5 vratas, both aspects have been described. If we follow these vrats in our life, they make our life very, very happy, and we have a very comfortable life and a very useful life that way. And I must say that some of these vratas are very, very powerful. Look at the life of Mahatma Gandhi. He used ahimsa and satya and ahimsa, as weapons of non-violence to fight against colonial rule, and he won it. So it was the power of his non-violence movement, in the form of satya and ahimsa, that he could face and stand and fight with such a powerful enemy. And if you go to the history, how did he get this idea of non-violence? And I must say that it was Jainism. He got this idea of non-violence from Jainism, from a Jain Acharya, and then he of course applied it in his life, in practice, and that was a great thing. And after this experiment was done here in India, the message went through across the world, and many people adopted this idea. Say for Martin Luther King and so on. They also adopted this way of non-violent movement. So ahimsa is a very powerful practice or very powerful principle as such. And the importance of ahimsa has now been recognized by United Nations, United Nations say that, in this violence-ridden world, the only hope is non-violence. And therefore, they had declared 2nd October, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, as an International Non-Violence Day. And that's a great credit to the concept of ahimsa. You can attribute it to Jainism, if you like. But ahimsa, is interwoven in the Indian culture, Mahabharata also says ahimsa paramo dharma. So it has been regarded as the most important religion which mankind should have. When we talk of vrata and when we talk of Anuvrat, we are in fact talking of a established way of life, a good way of life, and maybe in a higher way of life, But in order that you have this practice in your life, you must be careful that the lower virtues or the lower vices are not taking place in your life. They have no place in your life. Jainism particularly regards this as very important, that the vices should not make home in your life, So the vices, there are 7 vices recognized in Jainism, known as Sapta Vyasan. And it is enjoined on every follower that you should remain away from these vices in your life. These vices are, number 1, gambling. Gambling is a very bad habit, It ruins the family, ruins the life of a particular individual. So stay away from gambling. Gambling of all kinds, maybe lottery or and many other forms of gambling are nowadays prevalent, Maybe on mobile or maybe on some other devices, gambling is going on. Then the second is consumption of non-vegetarian food. This is prohibited in Jainism. You can't eat flesh or meat, That of course involves hinsa, as you know. So this is completely prohibited. Consumption of alcohol, completely prohibited in Jainism. You should not drink liquor, you should not drink alcohol in any form. There are different forms, those details are known to you. So alcohol in any form should not be consumed. Then halotry, prostitution is prohibited, This is a very, very social, bad, evil practice in society, And the Jain follower is restrained or prohibited to go for this practice. Hunting is prohibited, Why should you kill innocent animals, They have a life which is similar to us, There is no difference between the life of animal and the life of a human being, except that they are a different state of development, that's all. But potentially, the soul is the same. So how can you kill? If you are hunting, you are killing an animal. Bhagavan Mahavir says that you are killing yourself. So hunting is prohibited. Theft, of course, is prohibited, and it is also punishable under law, as you know. Adultery, out of marriage relations, is prohibited, We said that in a Brahmacharya Anuvrat, that one can have relation only with his or her spouse, and any other kind of relationship is completely prohibited. So these are the 7 kinds of vices, which should not go in the life of any Jain follower or anybody who believes in Jain religion or who believes in Jain principles. And you can see that out these 7 vices are motivated from Anuvrat. You can correlate, you can find a correlation between the 5 Anuvrat and these 7 vices which are listed here. So basically it is the Anuvrat, which is a motivating force behind our practice and behind our conduct. Then based on the Anuvrat, there are principles in a way. Acharya Tulsi formulated a code of conduct, for those who are Anuvrat practitioners. If you believe in Anuvrat and if you practice Anuvrat, then you must follow this code of conduct, And this is very informative and very useful code in the sense that it applies to modern life. In our life now at this time, what should we do and what should we not do? We will describe only what should we not do, that we can find only to that. So all these conduct rules which I am going to talk to you are in fact taken from the Anuvrat. They are the primary source of practice. Now the first code of conduct is, I shall not intentionally kill any living being without any serious offense. So you are not allowed to kill anybody. You are not allowed to kill even in an animal or even in an insect, unless there are exceptions, But these are only exceptions. Remember, this does not give you a license to you to kill them. It's only in exceptional cases when all the means fail, then only one resort to killing, So you make sure that you have exhausted all the available means to you to save the life. And the corollary of this practice is, I shall not commit suicide. Suicide is a great sin. Suicide is not permitted. I mean, if you want to harm yourself, it is the same thing as you are harming others. You also have the soul, you also have a soul, and the other person also have a soul, or other living being also has a soul. So it's one and the same thing. Whether you kill yourself or kill somebody else, you are in fact harming the soul or hurting the soul. So committing suicide is a great sin and prohibited. I shall not involve in fetus killing, Bhrun Hatya, what we call as a Bhrun Hatya, which is finding common, is becoming common nowadays, unfortunately. But that is not permitted in Jainism, You cannot have abortion. Abortion is prohibited. The second conduct is, I shall not invade or attack anyone. Attacking comes only because of passions. You are angry, and therefore you attack. So that anger itself is not good, and whatever you do in the fit of anger is a sin. So attacking means, harming somebody is prohibited. You must not do that. Or similarly, invasion. Invasion is normally used in the sense that you are invading a particular territory or a country. An attack is normally used for a personal or social group. Shall not support the policy of invasion. You don't invade and you don't support the policy of invasion. Whether it's your own country, you must differ. If your own country wants to invade some other country, you must oppose it, you must differ. Look here, this is not good, it's not permitted. You must resolve the issues by dialogue. Shall try for disarmament and world peace, because invasion is not good, is not permitted. So therefore, all the means for invasion, which are arms, so the arms must be dispensed with. So disarmament must be the policy, and you must work for it. I shall not participate in violent and destructive activities. It's obvious, But unfortunately, this is happening very often these days, that people engage themselves in such activities. Even students do it, and this is prohibited. I shall uphold unity of mankind. Very big principle. The mankind is same, There is no difference between one person and another. There is no difference between one individual and another individual, of any country, of any race, of any caste, There is no difference. The mankind is one. You can't make groups of mankind. You can't have a class of mankind. You cannot divide the mankind in groups, So all mankind is one, and it must be united. Shall not accept class distinction on the basis of race, caste, color, etc. This is not allowed in Jainism, that you can't make a distinction on the basis of race, say for example African race or Asian race or European race. This defined otherwise, but this is a simple way to understand. Caste system is present in India most, and unfortunately this is happening. Color on the basis of white, black, and so on. We know that there have been riots recently on this basis. This is not allowed in Jainism. Jainism makes no distinction between the human beings based on the race, caste, color, and so on. I don't say that the caste system is not there in Jain community. Unfortunately, it is there, but this tradition has come from Hindus rather than from Jain tradition. Shall not accept untouchability. So there also, the Jain does not regard anything Dalit or something like this. No, all human beings are same. So the untouchability again has come from Hindu tradition, and it is being followed in Jainism also, unfortunately. but this is principally not allowed. I shall not practice religious, I shall practice religious harmony. On the basis of religion also, there should not be conflict, there should not be division, or there should not be fight or quarrel. As I told you earlier also, the Anekantvad tells us that, look here, there can be different views of thinking. There are different points of views, and all must be respected. So why fight one another? So there must be a harmonious relationship between the various religions. Shall not promote sectarian approach, even in one religion there are different sectors, different sections of this, and that is the religion is divided into sub-sectors, and it happens unfortunately in Jainism also. The Jainism also divided in sectors, Digambar, Svetambar, and division in these again. But this should not be promoted. This should not happen, And you must be again have harmonious relationship between the various sects of the religion. The sixth one, I shall be honest in business and behavior. So this is, of course, everyone understand. And shall not harm others or any property for my personal gain. Many people do it, because you are gaining something, let there be any kind of damage or some kind of harm to another person or another property, because you are gaining, you are being selfish. This is not allowed. Shall not deceive anyone. It's of course clear, deception is a bad practice. I shall not restrict I shall restrict the means and methods affecting my celibacy. The Brahmacharya Anuvrata tells us that you must practice celibacy except for a limited kind of relationship. So any means or methods which promotes going against celibacy must be restricted. You should not collect such things. You should not have those kinds of practices which affect your Brahmacharya Anuvrata. This is not good. I shall not resort to immoral practices in election. Those who are fighting election, and nowadays immoral practices are very common, it's in only exceptional cases that you don't find such immoral practices. Otherwise, probably 90% or even 99% cases, you will find that the candidates go for or resort to immoral practices. This is not allowed in Jainism. If there is a Jain candidate, he should be very careful in the elections. Even elections in school and colleges, unfortunately, are having the same trend as the other political elections. I shall not protect social evils. There are social evils, we all know, dowry is one, and sacrifice of women on the death of husband, and so on. There are many such evils, So Jainism is against these evils, These evils were not there in Jainism. They again come from Hindu tradition, So we shall not protect such evil practices. We will oppose such evil practices. I shall have vice-free life. That one must pledge, take a pledge that you have a vice-free life. I shall be careful for environmental protection. Environment is given utmost importance in Jainism, and one is supposed to protect, or one is not supposed to harm environment in any way. So you must take full measures to protect environment. Particularly, you must not cut trees. Trees are the lifeline of environment. I shall not cut trees. I shall not waste water or electricity. This is again is against the Anuvrat practice, So wasting water or wasting electricity is equally prohibited or not allowed. There are some additional codes class-wise, So a Anuvrat practitioner follow these 11 codes I just now mentioned. In addition to that, there are class-wise codes. For example, students will practice something else, teachers will practice something else according to the profession, So as far as the students is concerned, the students must resolve that I shall not use unfair means in examination. Okay? That you understand. I shall not use indecent words and shall not read vulgar books and see vulgar movies. A practice which is very common nowadays. So it is a warning to them that please don't indulge in such type of practices and try to use decent words and prevent yourself wasting time on vulgar things. I shall not accept dowry. It is for you students, Make sure that when you marry, you don't accept any dowry. That's bad tradition. Then for teachers, it's said that I shall try for developing moral values in students besides the intellectual development. The teacher has the responsibility to develop moral values in students, and he must try for it. I shall not use unfair ways for passing students. Don't be partial. The teacher must be impartial in evaluation of students' examinations and so on. And teachers shall not promote sectarian politics in school colleges and shall not instigate students for the same. Unfortunately, this is what is happening in India. I don't say that it is happening in other countries very much, but here it's very much prevalent, There is a group politics in schools, colleges, and so on. And unfortunately, the students are also instigated and involved in this kind of politics, and that ruins the entire atmosphere of the institute or the college. So this must be restrained as for the teachers, Then officers and staff, those who are working, serving in an organization, the rule is I shall not accept bribe. How much we are all suffering, because of corruption practice, because of bribes, and everyone is suffering in the society. So you must remove this practice altogether, So I must take a pledge, when I am officer, that I will not accept any bribe. If every officer takes this pledge, I think we can remove the corruption from the society. I shall not misuse my powers. This happens many times, that people misuse their powers and do something which they are not supposed to do, So the misuse of power must not be practiced. Then candidates in election. I shall not use money and force for getting votes. This is again a common practice nowadays. Allurement of money and force is there, and this for getting votes. Please stop it. I shall not make a personal attack on other candidates. So the candidates who are fighting elections must refrain from making personal attacks on their opposition candidates. I shall not resort to unfair means in voting and counting. This of course is obvious. For voters, I shall not vote under any allurement of force. Not for money, not for force. I'll give my vote to the genuine, deserving candidate. I shall not use forced identity. People voting twice, thrice, with a forced identity, please don't do it. And businessmen and traders, I shall not indulge in adulteration. Of course, it is clear. I shall not engage in trade, export, import, and smuggling of goods forbidden by government. Some items are forbidden for government. Liquor is forbidden in Gujarat, and there are people who are getting or importing in an underhand way, the liquor. This is not allowed. I shall not indulge in hoarding, is prohibited. I shall not refuse to return the goods kept in my custody. So that also we discussed in the earlier lecture. So today I have just now discussed the code of conduct, which a practitioner of Anuvrat must follow. And if you follow this code of conduct, I am sure you will be happy, your family will be happy, and the society will be happy. Thank you.